Thanks. On behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher, I welcome you all to the first quarter FY22 earnings call of S-Chan Limited. We have with us the management represented by Mr. Himanshu Gupta, the MD, Mr. Saurabh Mittal, CFO, and Mr. Atul Soni, who is Head Investor Relations. I would now like to hand over the call to the management for opening remarks, after which we can open the floor for Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Himanshu Gupta, the Managing Director of S-Chan Company Limited. I would like to welcome you all to our first quarter results conference call for FY22, and thank you all for taking the time out and joining us here today. I trust each one of you and your loved ones are safe in these extremely difficult times. The pandemic has impacted millions across the country. For the formal education sector, it began in March 2020 and continues to date. As you are aware, Q1 of this year was a time when COVID wave 2 had engulfed the country, with large parts of the country under various stages of lockdown. The intensity of wave 2 was unparalleled and impacted most of us in one way or the other. From our perspective, schools announced preponement of summer holidays, board examinations were cancelled for class 10th and 12th, entrance examinations were postponed, and all education institutions were physically closed during the entire quarter. COVID wave 2 also impacted online teachers, with a lot of educators who were impacted directly or indirectly by the pandemic. The focus was also for us as a company was to ensure the well-being of our employees and stakeholders during the critical phase. We have started seeing school opening up, and most states in the country announcing schools opening from August to September onwards. This should help normalcy return, and we are seeing sales to shift from Q1 to Q2 for K-12 segment. As for the higher education segment, board exam results were announced in July, and IIT and NEET entrance exams have also announced for September and October respectively. Engineering and medical college would see delayed college admissions for first year from October onwards. We expect second year students to be able to start their new sessions during Q2 itself. This is different from the usual cycle of higher education, where colleges used to start new sessions in July, August versus October or November. Humanities and Commerce segment session may start from September onwards, since board examination results have already been announced. We have given more details around this in our investor presentation from slides 4 to 7. The publishing business has had a couple of years of disruption, which has impacted a lot of small and medium-sized content providers. This opens up an opportunity for larger, financially stronger organizations to increase market share once the ground situation improves. With S-Chan 3.0, we have improved our working capital efficiency and cost base and are now poised to grow once the NCF is announced. On the EdTech front, we are taking strong strides in getting ready for increased adoptions of our digital solutions in a post-COVID world. The Milestone app has been upgraded for students, teachers, and parents to enable the 150,000 students using Milestone as a platform for enhancing the learning process. LearnFix has been enabled with feature functionality to bridge the gap between school and after-school learning. Our most affordable learning app, LearnFix, has over 2.5 lakh downloads and over 21,000 paying subscribers. We expect schools which were provided with free usage during FY21 would convert to paying customers in FY22. We also have plans to launch LearnFix Bangla during the current quarter. Madhuban Educate 360, our K-12 learning management system, has now gotten implemented in 21 schools post a successful pilot project. We expect more schools to use this product as the year goes by. The process of transferring Milestone and LearnFix, our school and student solution, into a separate subsidiary, Convergia Digital Education Private Limited, with the view of raising capital separately for this business to grow exponentially, has been completed, and we are now looking forward to raise capital for funding the future leg of growth for these businesses. We are also looking to enable our key bestsellers with teaching videos to engage and enable learners to understand difficult concepts from experts. We partner with an investing company, Testbook, to launch a next generation smart book to aid students preparing for competitive examinations for government jobs, especially for rural areas of the country. This smart book is a physical book created after processing performance data of lakhs of Testbook students. It combines the convenience of physical study material with the power of EdTech. This product is being sold at local bookshops, S-Chan's web portal, and e-commerce website. We expect to come out with more such innovative products, harnessing the power of technology with our distribution reach in the coming times. We believe that we have a great opportunity in coming times for blended learning as a medium of education. We are confident of the value add that our digital solutions, along with the strong content repository built over 8 decades, will provide. We feel that these products and services would be the future growth drivers for the group in the coming years. With that, I would now request our CFO, Mr. Saurabh Mittal, to apprise us all on the financial performance of SCAN. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your time. I am Saurabh Mittal, Group CFO, SCAN. Q1 FY22 sales were impacted due to COVID wave 2 related lockdowns across the country and extension of the school vacations till June end and cancellation of board examinations. We expect shifting of some portion of K-12 revenues to Q2. Q1 FY22 is also not comparable with the Q1 FY21 since Q1 FY21 had sales overflow from the previous Q4 FY20, which was impacted by the national lockdown of 21st March 2020. However, if we compare the first quarter with Q1 FY20, then we have a lower EBITDA loss by 38% and our PAT loss is lower by 17%. In terms of numbers for the first quarter, our consolidated operating revenues came at 358 million. Our gross margin stood at 57 million and our net loss came at 314 million. I'm happy to share that we have continued our good work on the working capital and debt front. In terms of working capital, debtor days have reduced by 43 days this quarter to 233 days versus 276 days at the end of Q4 FY21. Our net working capital days also have decreased by 16 days on year-on-year basis versus 298 days of Q1 FY21. Do keep in mind that this improvement is despite having lockdowns across the country for COVID wave 2. In terms of debt, we ended the quarter with a gross debt of 1862 million and a net debt of 1297 million. We have moved to a fundamentally lower debt profile for the company. Our gross debt has reduced by 328 million on a year-on-year basis and our net debt has reduced by 497 million on a year-on-year basis. We are looking forward to reaching a net debt zero levels by Q4 FY23 on the back of increased cash flow generation. On the inventory front, we are moving to a structurally lower inventory levels in the company. We ended the quarter with an inventory of 1480 million versus 1909 million during the same quarter last year. This is a reduction of 29% on year-on-year basis. This improvement in inventory is driven by various steps that we took in controlling print runs and optimizing book titles. By the year end, we are targeting 800 to 1000 million inventory. In terms of cash flows, we generated operating cash flows of 99 million. I want to highlight from a cash flow perspective the strong reduction in receivables in Q1 of 721 million versus 365 million last year in spite of the COVID wave 2. This represents better quality of sales achieved in FY21. We also saw a strong reduction in borrowings in Q1 FY22 of rupees 169 million. As we move through FY22, I would call out a few things for this year. Firstly, we would be taking a price hike across our product portfolio to the tune of 5 to 10%. We are also mapping our books as per the new education policy and are preparing for the NCF, which may be announced once the COVID situation improves. Secondly, we are seeing a portion of Q1 revenues move to Q2 on the back of school closures during Q1. Thus, Q2 and Q3 are expected to be better quarters in comparison to the previous year. Also, the inventory levels with channel partners is lower than the earlier years. Thirdly, with the increased number of vaccination and lower COVID cases, we expect schools and colleges to gradually reopen and this will lead to a normal sales season during Jan to March 22. Thus, if the situation holds up, then we can get a dual benefit of higher product prices and normal sales season in FY22. Fourthly, on the debt front, we aim to become debt-free by fourth quarter of FY23 and further optimize working capital going ahead. Fifth and the biggest growth driver for our print business would come from the introduction of the new syllabus post the announcement of the NCF. This should lead to a strong revenue and profitability growth for 2-3 years. Our base case is that the NCF should impact financials from FY23 onwards. And on the announcement can greatly change our FY22 financials as well. Finally, the focus on cost and working capital has ensured that we have a stronger liquidity than a lot of our peers, and we are poised to take advantage of the disruption that COVID has brought. With this, I would like to open the call for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is on the line of Deepen Shankar from Trustline PMS. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks a lot for the opportunity. And congratulations for good improvement on balance sheet parameters. So, firstly, want to understand if schools are opening by Q3 or Q4 in most of the states. So, what is the kind of expectations in terms of top line for FY22?
So, in terms of if schools are actually physically reopening by the end of this year, then we would have a normal season, and we should expect a top line of in excess of 500 crores.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah. So it's
in excess of 500 crores, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is something which we have shared in the last call as well. So we are sticking to that. Okay.
And also in terms of Landflix, in the last 1 year, if we see downloads has increased by 3.2 times to 2.55, but paid users are increasing only by 17%. So what are the steps we are taking to increase the growth in paid user base?
Yeah, so in terms of Learnflix, see, while initially it was meant more of a B2B solution and sold through schools, but unfortunately with most schools not physically opening and having their own challenges around fees, what we are trying to do at this point of time is that we are trying to market it through our own distribution network and channel partners, where we've given out scratch cards starting this quarter, and we hope to increase the number of paid users over the next 5 to 6 months. But the real impact will come in when schools physically open and start getting their complete fees. That is the time that we can really push for a good B2B adoption.
Okay. So also we are planning to increase the number of subjects offered in Landflix, right? So that user fee of 2,000 will also improving as the number of subjects increase?
Yes. So we'll be adding social studies this year, and then we will be looking at English, and then adding classes 11 and 12. So once we have a larger base, of course, then we can look at more adoptions. But of course, then the renewals across from classes 10 to 11 will also happen for existing customers.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I'll get back in queue.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Nitin Dharmawat from Aurum Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Since you mentioned that now Learnflix adoption is, especially the paid side, paid user base, which is dependent on B2B business, and it will happen. It may take some more time once the school start and stabilize. So, what is the current situation with respect to the funding that we were looking for? Is this happening or it's getting delayed now?
Yeah, so the structure is ready, and the larger amount of funding is for Milestone, which is the other main business, which already has traction of about 150,000 students and almost 300 plus schools. So that is the largest piece of the business that we are raising funds from. Learnflix is not that as on today, that's not the larger part of the business. However, once we get the funding, we can move both of them together because this is a complementary product. One is within school, one is after school.
So that I understood. I'm talking about the external funding that you were looking for. Is it getting delayed now, or we are still working on it, or we are not looking for the funding?
We are waiting for the structure to be in place. We still are in discussion, and we will let you know once something comes up.
Nitin, you will appreciate that a fundraise is a binary event. So as and when things get finalized, we'll be intimating the exchanges and everybody.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Dhananjay Mishra from Sunidhi Securities and Finance Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, sir. Sir, our employee cost related to revenue is very high on IR. So, are we doing something on that side also to reduce the cost?
Could you repeat that? Employee cost is
High.
On higher side, because we are doing close to 400 crore annual revenue and employee cost is around 100 crore. So can we have any scope to reduce that all as well going forward?
Yeah, if you have looked at our cost over the last 2 years, we've done a substantial cost reduction. Our base was, I think,
It was 151 crores 2 years ago.
Yes.
So we have come down from that to around 100.
Yes, sir, but accordingly our revenue also has come down from 2-3 years. We are at 600-700 crore, now we are at 450-500 crore.
So I don't see a major scope for reduction here. Whatever we had to do, we've done. And we'd like to retain the people we have because please appreciate that there is an NCF coming up, and to take advantage of the NCF, we need to have both team on the content side and also on the technology side and also on the marketing side. So we will not be looking at a further reduction in that cost because this is the best time to go out and attack the market once the NCF is out. So that is when we'll gain market share. So I don't see any reduction in employee costs in the next 1 year at least.
Also, see, employee costs do have a function of operating leverage also involved. So the same employee base can actually generate much higher revenues than what has been reported in the previous years because of COVID. So, you also have to keep that in mind, that although it might look, you or in your view, you might think that this is a higher employee cost, but what we feel is that given the future scenario where we are expecting curriculum change to happen, this same employee cost can generate a much higher level of revenue than what we are seeing right now.
And what is the EBITDA margin we are looking at this year at 500 crore revenue?
Should be in the range of 15 to 20% overall.
15 to 20. Okay, sir. That's all from my side. All the way.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. Participants in the conference, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Nitin Dharmawat from Aurum Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just one follow-up question regarding new education policy. So, since I couldn't listen to your initial commentary, I missed that. In case you have covered that, I'm sorry. So just wanted to know what is the status of NEP? Did you hear more about it? Do you see a possibility of it getting implemented in the foreseeable future, or it's going to get delayed due to a variety of reasons?
So the new education policy is already out. It's there and it's being implemented. It's the NCF, which is the National Curriculum Framework, which has not been announced yet, which is basically the curriculum for the schools on which we base most of our content and books for the future adoptions. But the broad parameters are already out. A lot of the industry is already working around the various aspects of the changes in the teaching learning process, which is already getting incorporated in most of the content that we are even providing this year. So we are mapping our existing content, and whatever new content is required, we are already developing it based upon the broad new education policy that is there. But the detailed NCF on what goes in which class, which chapter, that whole thing has to be clear for us to develop curriculum-centric books. So while broad things are happening, but the detail is not yet. And I think once the COVID situation improves, I'm sure they'll announce it. I mean, they would also not like to announce the NCF in the middle of a pandemic, because it becomes a challenge for teachers as it is right now to teach existing syllabus. They're not being able to complete because the online, again, we know how, not sure how effective it is able to do for schools to complete syllabus in the truncated time that is there on online. Online classes possibly are not even 50-60% on what a physical classroom can do. So those challenges are there for the industry, and they'll continue to be there till the time this pandemic is there. So I don't see it getting announced during a pandemic.
So I believe, sir, that maybe the new syllabus will be announced in FY23, maybe Q1, Q2, and the implementation will happen in the academic session for academic year 23-24. But we will see the sales impact happening in FY23. That is our expectation from the government, that we believe.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much for this detailed reply. One more question that I have is about the impact of COVID on the entire publishing industry. So since you mentioned towards the end of your commentary that S-Charm is in the position to utilize the situation because of the cash position that we have and the strength of the balance sheet. So do you see that the weaker companies are in this distress, and there is a possibility of they're going out of the business, and that's where the consolidation is possible?
So I believe, sir, that a lot of companies that we know about and we have heard about, and as per from the market information, a lot of companies are in financial stress because of not getting their old dues from the customers and not able to do the proper sales and having a lot of inventory. So we believe they are in a tight situation. I don't know how many people will close shop or how many people will continue. That's a difficult question to answer, but definitely we see that there will be market consolidation happening, and bigger players will become bigger, who are more financially better off and who have a quality brand and product portfolio will fare better. So I believe that situation is definitely going to come, and it will benefit companies like us in the near future.
Wonderful. Just one more follow-up question to this. So would you like to explore any acquisition also in this space, publishing space, or you won't like to go with the regular business growth?
I think we have acquired enough companies over the last, I would say, 5-6 years, and we have a complete portfolio in CBSE and ICSE, and we have a lot of products offering. So I don't foresee any new acquisition happening in the next 2 or 3 years. If something exceptional comes out, that's a different story. But in the normal course of business, I think we will continue on the same path, and we have a large product offering, and we will take the benefit for that.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nitin, just to add one more thing in that, while we are not looking at an acquisition in the print publishing space, we are looking at a couple of edtech investments for a strategic minority stake, and we will be sharing as and when things happen. And these are looking into your various future technologies of artificial intelligence and a lot of content which goes through YouTube channels. So we are looking at that very actively, where we can strategically partner them and help them grow on the B2B side. People who have more B2C adoption and who would like to explore B2B. So that is something that we are actively looking at. It will not be a very large investment, but a very strategic one for us, so that we can also look at increasing our content base on the EdTech front.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Satya from ICICI Bank. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to understand if you are giving a digital content to a school, so how the rights are distributed. So if a physical is replaced by a digital book, so the cost remains same or it is reduced, and how the rights are being distributed to the publishers in case of digitization?
Yeah, so in case I'm giving, again, digital content can be 2 parts. One can be the ebook, for which we have a couple of platforms. One is, of course, the Igniter platform that we use, which powers LearnFlix, Milestone, and Igniter has its own distribution also, where the distribution happens through our own platform, and they are given a login through which they can access it. They can't download or distribute, but they can access it. The other is a third-party platform called iPublish Central, again, which helps us distribute to the higher education institutes. This is the PDF or the EPUB type of distribution of content. The other type of content, of course, is the digital content, again, which goes on to various platforms or portals that we have, whether it is the Milestone app or the LearnFlix app or the Educate 360 app or even the Igniter platform. And these, again, are based on user login basis. We also have a couple our own portal through which we give access to teachers to view content, use content, and also to generate question banks. So this is the way we transfer our license our products to schools. Having said that, again, pricing depends on what kind of products they're taking, whether it's a complete solution or whether it's a standalone solution. And if you want to compare it with a physical book, I can only compare the ebook with a physical book. The ebook versus a physical book is about 20-25% cheaper. because it does not have a printing or a distribution cost. But digital content, of course, is a different service. Again, depends upon the quantum of content, the kind of back-end services that the school requires. We give a lot of teacher training along with it. A lot of hand-holding happens. So again, that depends on school to school on how detailed the engagement is with the school.
But you are selling it directly to schools and not to children, right? The students.
There are some products which are being directly also sold to consumers. People can use ebooks from Google, Amazon, Copy Kitab, our own website also we are doing B2C, but then currently that is a very small portion of it.
Okay. And is there any scope of piracy in digital books?
Digital books, there is huge piracy going on, and to be honest, we have probably taken down thousands of sites, Telegram channels, YouTube channels which have been used for distribution of our ebooks, and that is a continuous process. We have a team of 3-4 people doing that each and every day, because you close down 10, another 10 will spring up. So that is a challenge, but that largely happens in the OTC products, the key books. The ones that are prescribed by the school or are adopted by the school, the piracy is not that much.
And how do you compete with like education, other competitors like Byju's, if we see? How do you compete with them if we see? What is the strategy for dealing with, because they are also providing content to these students?
So let me answer that, sir. Basically, there are two things. One is we are more focused on the B2B2C platform, where we sell, we contract the schools and the schools sell it to the students. And secondly, the affordability price. Our price of, let's say, a LearnFlix product will cost you 2,500 rupees, and the product of Byju will cost you 40,000 to 50,000 rupees. So there's a very substantial difference in the pricing and the way we sell it. So we are not competing with Byju's directly in that space, because Byju is more focused on a premium product with focus on B2C kind of a market. So that is the basic difference of approach in us and that.
Got it. Thank you, sir. Yeah, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Nitin Dharmawat from Aurum Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity again. Just one more question. You mentioned that the target for the current financial year is 500 crores with an EBITDA margin of 15 to 20%. So I'm assuming that we have not built in new curriculum framework impact into this target, both for top line and EBITDA margin.
Yes, that's correct. We have said that our base case assumption is FY23 for impact of the new curriculum.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. Participants in the conference, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Nikhil Lakhotia from Equinrock Systems. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know, like, if you can tell us what is the breakup in terms of adoption of your digital solutions like LearnFlix between, say, an urban, a semi-urban, and if at all there's rural as well adoption. And in terms of the schools, you mentioned you've provided free usage during COVID-19. What proportion would of the subscribers would be getting converted into paying customers?
Yeah, so in terms of our, I would say a lot of our downloads are semi-urban and smaller cities. But again, it's targeted towards the people who cannot afford these premium solutions. But having said that, a lot of our free usage is also being provided to international schools and larger schools also who are users of our school books. So, and we expect, I would expect we would have around a 10 to 15% conversion into paid customers.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. Participants in the conference, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for your closing comments.
Thank you. And I thank everyone for taking out their time for this Q1 SCHAN conference. And we hope that all the families and everyone should remain safe in these pandemic times. And we also taking all the precautions. And we hope that the schools open up soon and we should start a normal business. And we like to also achieve our numbers and budgets that we have said about. And thanks once again for taking this call. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited, that concludes this conference call. We thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.